Hey guys, so I am finally back from my WrestleMania adventures. It was incredible. The reason I didn't post this yesterday is because I lost my voice from screaming for the Iconics and Kofi Kingston winning, as well as Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I just can't believe we got all these amazing winners that I honestly said in my predictions we weren't going to get all of these winners because WWE isn't going to be generous. But you know what? They really were generous. And I was pleasantly surprised, as were most of the people in attendance. Now, if you're not really into long videos, I apologize in advance. Not really. But I wanted to film a very long video. I want to give a full in-depth analysis of WrestleMania 35 from my perspective as someone who was inside the stadium viewing WrestleMania. You know, there's a lot of people who do reviews who are at home watching from home, and that's completely fine. But I feel like my perspective is a little bit different as somebody who was there, and I saw things a little bit differently than maybe you did while you were at home. Now, before I start my review, I want to give a shout out to a subscriber who has really inspired me. I met some of you at WrestleMania and you were all wonderful, but this woman who I met, her story really stood out to me, and I just wanted to say hello to you and thank you for watching and subscribing and supporting my channel for so long. She is a single mom from Dallas, Texas, and she flew all the way to New Jersey just for WrestleMania to get on a plane a couple hours post WrestleMania to go back to Texas and go to work at noon Monday afternoon. Like, you're honestly so inspirational to me. And thank you so much for watching my channel and supporting my content and pushing me to keep going because, you know, sometimes I feel like I just want to give up, but people like you make it all worth it. And she also has inspired me to go to WrestleMania 36, which is what I'm going to say. I will be in Tampa for WrestleMania 36. I'm definitely going to do the travel package. I just think it's much better and more cost effective. So that's something to look out for in the coming year. I will be at WrestleMania 36. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into my WrestleMania 35 review. Okay, so gonna start off by saying that the stadium is a little bit more complicated than I thought it was gonna be. So parking is like on the other side of the stadium. Like you have to walk through like 2 tunnels to get to the stadium. That was very inconvenient in my opinion. That's something I would change. I would also change the fact that there was no roof on the stadium. So there's no cover, there's no retractable roof. I knew that going in, but I definitely underestimated how cold it was going to be. Fully regret that now. It was so incredibly windy. I cannot stress to you how windy and cold it was. Now, this is the Northeast, so April in the Northeast is still incredibly cold. It doesn't start getting warm until like Memorial Day weekend, which is the very end of May. So I knew it was going to be cold, but I didn't think it was going to be that cold. So the fact that it was so windy made it so much more colder for me. I still enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but it's just something that I know now going into the future. If I ever attend that venue again, I know what to expect. Like my eyelashes were falling off just because it was so windy. Like it was a mess, but I wouldn't change it for anything because it was my first Mania. It was just epic, iconic. It was just everything. But take the good with the bad. This show was incredible. So that was just a couple of my main issues with the stadium. So from kickoff to the end of the night, it was a 7-hour event, which to me was fine. But I have to say, around the 11 o'clock hour, I want to say like after Triple H and Batista, those final 3 matches, the crowd was starting to get very tired and very grumpy. And I completely understand why. As somebody who was there in attendance, it got so incredibly cold after 11 o'clock at night. So a lot of people were not really interested in the matches, including the main event, because it was so freezing in the stadium at that point. Again, they need a retractable roof for stuff like this. So it definitely took a little bit of the enjoyment out of the event near the 11 o'clock hour, about 5 hours into the show, a lot of people started dwindling down and they were getting a little agitated because it was so cold near the ending of the night. So at 5:30, the kickoff show began. We have the Cruiserweight title, Tony Nese versus Buddy Murphy. So I was very surprised, to say the least. I am so happy Tony Nese did capture the Cruiserweight title. He did win with the running Nese here. Tony Nese is a Long Island native. I absolutely adore Tony Nese. Tony Nese is great. I've met him several times. He's an amazing, amazing person. I can't think of a better person to win this title. He has been on the grind, on the hustle for years. And for someone who was overshadowed for so long in that division, you know, he's been there for 3 years and has been pretty overshadowed. I'm just so glad he had his Mania moment practically in his backyard with his friends and family live. It was awesome. Even though it was the first match and not everybody was in attendance, I would still say like 35,000 people were there at that moment, including myself. So I was so happy to see him win. He's so awesome. Up next, we saw the Women's Battle Royal, and I'm just going to cut to the chase here. Sarah Logan killed it in this match. Sarah Logan, Sonya Deville, wow, amazing. I thought that this was a sign that WWE was starting to maybe push new blood. Obviously, I was wrong here, but I had a little bit of hope, right? Sarah Logan looked incredible. She honestly is the MVP of this entire Battle Royal. She was fire. She kept hanging on to the ropes. Nobody could eliminate her. Straight fire, killing it. Sarah honestly should get pushed. I don't know what's going on. I really hope she does get pushed. Sonya Deville also looked incredible. LGBTQ icon. I love Sonya. She's great. There's a lot of people chanting for Dana Brooke as well. Dana has a lot of fans. I'm really surprised by that, considering with how like little TV time she gets. Very impressive as well. But Carmella won. Boo. Boring, whatever. I deal with it because of what happened on the main card. I'll deal with it. So up next, we have for the Raw tag team titles, we have Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins versus The Revival. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins did win. This was monumental for Kurt Hawkins because he actually broke his defeated streak. So that was awesome. It was so great to see Long Island natives winning here. They got a huge pop, of course, and I was really happy for them. I was really, really, really happy for them. The match maybe went a little too long in my opinion. I would have maybe cut it maybe by 3 to 5 minutes. It went about 14 minutes. But nonetheless, I'm very happy that Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder won here. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal was what you would expect. Of course, Strowman was going to win. It was very boring, to be honest. I felt like this match should have maybe went first, and the Cruiserweight title went last because of how amazing that match was. But, of course, Strowman was the big guy of the pre-show. So, yeah, it was really boring, in my opinion. So, starting with the main card, we see the shock, the big shock. Alexa Bliss comes out, says that, you know, she could do whatever she wants at the flip of a switch and she could just snap her thumb. We see Hulk Hogan. Now, 82,000 freaking people were chanting for the racist asshole. I wasn't, and some people weren't, which were awesome. They're woke as fuck. But it's just like, whatever, you know? So the big thing, the big shock is that Lesnar is defending the Universal title in the beginning of the show. So Heyman comes out, he says, if my client's not going to go on last, we want to get out of here. Let's get this match underway. Fine by me. The match was horrendous. It was 2 minutes and 30 seconds officially. It felt like 5 lifetimes, to be honest, because it just felt like it wasn't underway yet. Lesnar just demolished Rollins before the match started, and then the match finally starts, and then Rollins hits 3 curb stomps, low blows him, and wins. That's all, you know, it is what it is. I'm whatever about it, honestly. I am glad that a fighting champion is there to defend the title, hopefully every month now, as opposed to some moron who only comes in when the check is good enough. Fuck out of here. The second match is actually one of the better matches of the night and one of the longer matches of the night, actually. That is AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. This match got 17 minutes. That was pretty good. Well-deserved because they did have amazing promos throughout the past couple of weeks, so I figured that it did warrant that. It did. It was actually a very good match. AJ Styles ultimately gets the victory here with the phenomenal forearm, but I was very impressed with this match. It was actually really good. For the SmackDown Live tag titles, we have the Usos defending against Rusev Nakamura, The Bar, and Aleister Black and Ricochet. This match was great because the Usos remained the title holders here. That was important for me. I needed them to retain, and they did. They're on fire right now. I felt like it would have been a little premature to take the titles from them because I feel like they are the top tag team of the men's division. They're just so incredibly good if they're given the freedom to be how they are. They're really, really good, and I'm just glad that the Usos did win with the splash here. They killed it. Really good match. One of the weaker matches of the night just because it is forgettable, but in the moment it was a good match. So up next we have The Miz versus Shane McMahon. Honestly, the wrong person won here. Yes, it was a fun match, a little dragged out in my opinion, but I felt like The Miz should have won to finish off the storyline, but it seems like the storyline's gonna go further with The Miz versus Shane McMahon at Money in the Bank. Honestly, I feel like The Miz kind of needs to win as soon as possible. I kind of want this feud to end. It was really cool, that spot that they had with Shane and Miz. But at the end of the day, I feel like this feud has a shelf life and it needs to end now, honestly. The expiration date's about to be up. You know, I don't want to wait for another 6 weeks for this damn feud to end, you know. It needs to end sooner than later. And I don't want to wait till May 19th for this feud to end. I want it to end now. Now. Okay, I thought that it was going to end at Mania with The Miz winning, but apparently not. So, I don't know. Whatever. I'm over it already. Next, for the women's tag titles, we have Boston Hug versus the Iconics versus Nia and Tamina versus Beth Phoenix and Natalya. So, this was a good match, obviously, because the Iconics won. Duh. I'm so happy that the Iconics actually were able to capture this victory, and I was there to witness it live. Yas. When I tell you I was in hysterics, this bitch was truly in hysterics. Like, I did not expect that. So what had happened was Beth Phoenix is going for the Glam Slam on Bayley from the middle rope, and she does execute the Glam Slam. She goes for the pin. Queen Peyton runs and attacks Beth Phoenix, throws her out of the ring. Billie Kay makes the tag. She gets the pin, and WrestleMania becomes iconic. Yes. I was living. Yes, God. Like I said years ago, I only stand legends. And to those fucking management staff in NXT who denied the Iconics merchandise in 2016, this is what I have to say to you. So if you thought it couldn't get any more amazing and iconic and legendary and significant, the next match, we have Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE title. This match, honestly, was my match of the night in terms of in-ring quality. Now, the Iconics winning the titles, to me, that was my Mania moment. I got what I needed. I came all that way for that moment, and that's enough for me. Then we get Kofi Kingston defeating Daniel Bryan. I cried. It was amazing. Black Lives Matter. You know, this was amazing. Kofi's fighting for anybody that's marginalized, anyone. It's amazing that he did actually capture this title. You know, to say he's deserving is an understatement. He's been there for 11 years, grinding, hustling every single week. You know, Kofi is a staple of the WWE brand. He's constantly there. You know, he's one of the most deserving, if not the most deserving athletes to get a championship match and then to get that title and to have that Mania moment. You know, he never even expected this. This was slated for Mustafa Ali, most likely to lose against Daniel Bryan. You know, Bryan, I guess, wanted an opponent of his caliber level, like his height, stature, weight class, to fight at Mania. And luckily, Kofi was just there, right time, right spot, right place. He did that. He did that shit. Okay? The crowd was in hysterics for Kofi winning. I don't think anybody wanted Daniel Bryan to win. Even if you're a fan of Daniel Bryan, I don't think you wanted Daniel Bryan to win. From a storytelling perspective, it all intertwined seamlessly at WrestleMania. It was perfect because Kofi, it was just amazing. He was crying. Like, it was amazing, honestly. What a moment. What a moment. This WrestleMania really delivered in the sense of giving us these amazing, incredible moments that we're never going to forget. You know, so many people who deserve titles won titles at this Mania. Vince and crew really delivered in that sense. They really gave us a lot of treats at this WrestleMania. And my theory on that is because AEW is on the rise and there are a lot of big promotions that are kind of catching a lot of steam. A lot of people are behind these big companies now. And I think WWE realizes that they can't rest on their laurels. There is competition coming. So I'm glad that they are finally giving the fans what we want for so long. Up next for the US title, we had Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was obviously still injured, but still wrestled. It was only a minute. Quickly, this was the worst match of the night. Honestly, I would have scrapped this match. You know, Frey's not on his best. Don't have him fucking compete. That was embarrassing, honestly. So embarrassing. After that, we had Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. So for me, this was kind of the match I would do a little differently. Now, I knew Roman was going to win because they were pushing the leukemia situation so much. And don't get it twisted. I'm so happy that Roman's in remission. So happy. He is a fighter, truly. But to throw his, leukemia situation in a fake storyline, a real situation in a fake storyline, I just felt like that was stupid and just unnecessary because his cancer situation is so real. It should not have been thrown into this storyline with Drew McIntyre. I just felt like that was stupid. But we all knew Roman was going to win, even though Drew definitely needed this victory. I cannot stress that anymore. The match should have went 5 more minutes. It was only 10 minutes. I felt like it should have been a little bit more, especially that these two guys are big top tier players. I thought that the match would have went a little bit longer than what it did. So I was very unhappy with this match. It was very forgettable. Hopefully something big will happen with McIntyre. Maybe McIntyre and Rollins will have a showcase soon. I don't know. I want that. Who knows? Then at some point, Elias has his musical segment, which was funny as hell, because he does get interrupted by John Cena, but not typical John Cena. The Doctor of Thugonomics returned. Now, I don't know if it's one night only, but I was cracking up when Cena was dragging his own movies and calling them shit. Oh my God, I was living. That was so hilarious to me. Cena's so funny as Dr. Thugonomics. I actually really like that gimmick. I don't know about y'all, but it was hilarious. The crowd was loving it. They popped like crazy for that moment. And if you didn't pop at home for that moment, are you really a wrestling fan? Because that was hilarious. Straight hilarious. I am very upset though. Elias has been with the company on the main roster for 2 years and he's nothing more than a novelty act. Yes, he can get the crowd in the palm of his hands with his reactions and his amazing vocals and, doing great promos, but we need more from Elias. We need to book him correctly. And if he's constantly going to get buried by legends every single time he has a performance, that's not a good thing. There's a lot of people on social media that like to argue my points and say, well, he's getting these big moments with these big time people, heavy hitters. Sure. Yes, you can look at it from that perspective. But if nothing good is coming out of it for Elias, then what's the point? Constantly losing every single time is not helping his credibility. You do need to win sometimes to build credibility, people. You do know that, right? The segment was hilarious. Nothing against Cena. If they want Elias to go to bigger heights, then they need to book him properly. They cannot book him to get destroyed by these legends every single time he has a big performance, And even just his equals on the main roster, if he's constantly losing to his equals, his peers, his coworkers on the main roster, then I think Elias is honestly on borrowed time because this gimmick is not going to last forever. I'll say that. I want more for Elias, and I want better for Elias. Up next, we got the no holds barred match, Triple H versus Batista. So I'm going to be honest with you guys and say after this match, the crowd completely started shutting down. A lot of people started leaving the stadium, which I disagreed with. You're going to pay all that money to be at Mania. WWE already has your money. Why are you going to leave? Stupid asses. Stupid, stupid, stupid. But this match honestly went a little too long. I'll be honest with you. It was an okay match. You know, we saw a spot here where Triple H took out Batista's nose ring, and that was like the freaky spot of the night. Honestly, I liked seeing Flair get involved. You know, Flair helped out Triple H. Triple H, honestly, of course, was going to win. We knew that. I predicted that correctly. There's no way Triple H is not working those Saudi shows. I said that. I knew that. So of course Triple H did get the victory here. I really like Batista. I like both guys a lot. Batista did announce on Twitter after the match that that was his final sports entertainment wrestling match. And I guess he's going to focus back on acting. But that was the big special attraction match. A lot of people were invested in the match. It was pretty good, honestly. Like I said, it just went maybe a little too long. I think it went like 25 to 30 minutes. So at this point, it's around 11:30. The crowd is completely drawn out. They didn't even want to be there. A lot of people were over it. I understand why. It was freezing. It was so incredibly windy. Like I said, this time of year, the Northeast, it's still hella cold. So a lot of people were bitching and complaining. I sucked it up. You know, it's WrestleMania. It's once in a lifetime, right? The atmosphere, the ambiance, it's all worth it. So you're there 6, 7 hours, 8 hours. Suck it up. It's worth it, you know, but I totally understand if there's people who just want to watch at home. And I think a lot of the crowd there were the first time WrestleMania viewers because they should have stayed the fuck home. You know, they were cool for most of the show, but at the end they were complaining. It's so cold out. I want to get home. Shut the fuck up. You know what you're in store for, okay? Up next, we had Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle. Like I said, a lot of the crowd, they did not care about this match whatsoever. It was only 5 minutes. Baron Corbin won. Whatever. Oh, so over him. Kurt Angle deserved a better final opponent than Baron Corbin. A lot of people said it should have been Cena because Cena faced Angle in his debut. It would be fitting for Cena to retire Angle, but no, they went with Baron Corbin. Girl. What? I don't get it. I don't get it. I definitely don't see what the company sees in Corbin, but maybe it's just me. Then the Death Slot, the IC title, the hot potato title, as I like to call it, because this title is getting hot potatoed every freaking week. The Demon Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley. This match was hella quick. Finn Balor won with a coup de grace, as expected. Another match that could have been tossed out, honestly. Then for the first ever winner-take-all women's main event for the Raw and SmackDown title, we have Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Charlotte Flair had an incredible entrance, looking like a boss. Like, that was iconic, truly. Ronda Rousey, a lot of people were booing her. Charlotte got, I don't know, a lot of people were standing the fuck out of Charlotte, and I completely understood why. Because you know what? Charlotte probably had to get taken to the hospital for fucking carrying that fucking main event, okay? I'ma say that. Becky Lynch, from a storytelling angle, she deserved to win. But in ring, yo, I know everybody stands Becky, but like, I just don't think she's of the caliber as Charlotte in the ring. Charlotte, whether you like her or not, I'm getting sick of her being shoved down our throats, but you can't take it away from her. She is amazing in that ring. Ronda, I want more from Ronda. We see the same kind of moves from Ronda. Let's do a little bit diverse moveset when she returns. Now, Ronda Rousey did sustain a broken hand during this match, so major props to her for getting through the match like a boss. The ending, everybody's talking about the big ending. Yes, there too, it felt very abrupt. Like, we were all watching it. We did not expect Ronda to lose there. Ronda's going for the Piper's Pit. Becky counters into a pinning reversal. And then boom, 1, 2, 3. Everybody was in shock. Like, we just felt like that really wasn't a good ending for such a big, monumental, momentous match. It was a significant match. And, you know, being the first ever women's main event for a WrestleMania with 6, 7, 8 months of hype and build surrounding all of these athletes in this match, we were expecting a lot more, and we were left feeling a little defeated in terms of wanting more. So there was a lot left to be desired in that main event, especially the finish. It was okay for what it was, but I just felt like they should have went with a different finish as opposed to that quick roll-up victory for Becky Lynch. Now I'm happy Becky won. As I said on Twitter, Becky definitely should win. But I don't think Becky should have the title for months and months and months. I think that, you know, and also I don't think she will, because they're not going to have her work so much like that. Both shows, Raw and SmackDown, that's crazy work schedule. So all in all, I definitely think that this Mania was one of the best WrestleManias I've seen in recent years. I rewatched it on the network, and I have to say it really was one of the best. All of our favorites won. We had the Iconics, we had Seth Rollins, we had Kofi Kingston, we had Becky Lynch, we had the Usos, we had a lot of these amazing talents win and have their moment. And I definitely think that this WrestleMania is symbolic in the sense of fighting and being the underdog and fighting for what's right and believing in your heart that you could do it. And that's basically what I felt like the personification of this WrestleMania is. People who have worked so hard to get to this moment, people who have been overshadowed for so long, finally getting their moment. The Iconics, Kofi Kingston, Becky Lynch, all three of these people, well, four of these people, who have worked so hard but have been overlooked for so long. They finally got their Mania moment. And I feel like this WrestleMania personifying anybody, underdog, workhorse people who definitely needed an opportunity but have always kind of been overlooked, overshadowed to their peers. This Mania was so iconic for that moment. It's just such a great Mania. I cannot say. There were obviously some flaws here and there, like the stadium, not having a roof on top of the stadium. That was obviously annoying. But all in all, I loved the show. I thought the show was so great. The stage was a little simple, but sometimes simple is better. I thought that they could have done a little bit better of a production setup, especially with all the Saudi money that they're making. They could have put a little bit more money into the stage setup, in my opinion. But like I said, if you prefer simple, then it's for you. The show was incredible. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, which is an A. So it's not quite an A+, but it's definitely an A. One of the top 5 WrestleManias of all time, in my opinion. Of course, this is just my opinion. Don't come for my head. This is my opinion. It's not the best WrestleMania of all time. I would say it's probably number 5, but it was truly a special moment, and I will never forget it. I was so glad to be there live because I got to see my girls capture their first ever women's tag titles, and I was in hysterics, and I kind of get teary-eyed every time I think about it. I will never forget that moment. I love you guys so much. Please subscribe for more videos. It will only help me out. You know, I help you out by posting, you help me out by subscribing, so please subscribe and follow me on my social media at Volina WWE. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.